So you spend all this money and you got this great camera, but you want to take your photography or videography to the next level. I'm going to tell you what 3 things you need to purchase next. Stay tuned.
Flash Film Media presents What You Need to Know.
What's going on, guys? My name is Ty Turner, creative director here at Flash Film Media, and today we're going to talk about what should be your next 3 purchases after you buy your camera. Let me start off by saying it's not a lens. Though you may think it is, I can guarantee you, if you know what you're doing, your stock lens can make you a lot of money. In fact, it can probably pay for the lens that you want if you have these 3 items that you need. So here, I like to look at things from a business point of view. What can you buy that will help you land gigs and make money so that you can buy all the gear you want? We're gonna talk about that. So let's start with number 1. Number 1 is a no-brainer. It's a tripod. So you're probably looking at me like, duh, everybody knows that. I bought my camera, it came with a tripod. Not that cheap plastic flimsy tripod, but a really good, solid tripod. If you're going to do videography, you need a fluid tripod head. You need something that can handle the weight of your camera. You need something that will allow you to pan from left to right as smooth as possible. Them cheap tripods won't. Your video will look really shaky. It'll look really bad. It'll be really, really jittery. Plus, think about it like this. Let's say 2 years from now, you got, let's say, an A7R. You spend $4,200 on it. You got a 70 to 200. You spend another $2,500 on it. Do you really want all that money sitting on top of a $100 tripod? I've learned the hard way. Trust me, you don't. Invest in your tripod. Your tripod will last you a long time if you invest in it. What should you be spending for a good video tripod? That's hard to say. It depends on the size and weight of your camera. If you're shooting something big like a Ursa Mini, you're going to spend $1,000, between $500 and $1,000 for your camera or for your tripod. If you're shooting an A7R, you're still gonna probably spend between $200 and $1,000 for your tripod. Now they start to get expensive when you think about a few things. When they get lighter, you're talking about carbon fiber, and when they get a little bit smoother with the pans and tilts. For photography, you still can spend a pretty penny because you want a tripod that can go flat and go places other tripods can't go. Plus you want a light tripod. You want to travel, you want to have something that's light that you can take almost anywhere. So you're going to spend a little money on your tripod. Tripods are a must. Don't skim on the tripod. Trust me. Listen, there is no feeling worse than setting up your camera and you're getting back to take your picture and you see it tilt and you're trying to run to catch it. You don't want those problems, man. You don't want those problems. The number 2 thing you need to go out and purchase if you're doing video is audio. Audio is 51% of video. I'm going to say that again. Audio is 51% of video. I can prove it. Listen, wait, watch. I can prove it. Watch this. You ever watch The First 48? You ever see when they go someplace where they can't take their camera? The First 48 is excellent at getting B-roll while you listen to audio. They'll show you trees, birds, rats, hubcaps, trash blowing down the street. But because you hear the audio of them talking to a suspect in their mother's house or something, you're interested. Don't believe me? How about now? I can still talk to you and it still makes sense. But if you couldn't hear me, that's a problem. Audio is 51% of video. So when it comes to audio, what should you get? You should start with a shotgun mic. Why? Because it's a very versatile mic. It can either sit on top of your camera or you can put it on a boom pole, which we have here. A lot of people say, get a lav mic, get lav mics, get lav mics, and lav mics are great. But if I'm on a budget, I can get a shotgun mic and sit it in between two people, or have someone on a boom pole to move it between two people, and bam, I got audio for two for the price of one. So shotgun mics are very important. Depending on the type of camera you have, you may have to run separate audio, or you may be able to run audio directly into your camera, depending on the type of camera you have. It's important that you understand about your preamps on your camera. For me, Canons have had terrible preamps on DSLRs. Sony, however, has great preamps. That's just something to keep in mind. I'm not saying you can't record audio directly into a Canon. You may want to use a separate audio recorder. You're going to always get better quality with a separate audio recorder. However, you have to sync those in post later. Certain video editing software makes that a lot easier. If not, you can also look into software like Pluralize, which is great. Number 2 for videography is audio. Number 2 for photography, if you ask me, is ND filters. ND filters can help you on both video and photo, but as a photographer, you need a decent set of ND filters if you plan on taking any pictures outside. If you plan on being a portrait photographer outdoors, you need ND filters. Great ND filters helps you get a shallow depth of field and a lot of light. So that is my 2B for photographers. If you're a videographer, you're not going to do that much outdoors and you're chasing a moving subject, and shallow depth of field may be harder to come by if you're outdoors. Not saying it's impossible, it's not, but that wouldn't be number 2 on my list if video is my main focus. Number 3 for both photo and video is definitely lighting. Now, there is a huge difference in understanding lighting. I, for a long time, thought lighting was illuminating an area so that my camera can properly capture footage without being grainy. No, that's 25% of lighting. Understanding lighting so that you can tell a story with it, so that you can show dynamic range and be creative with it, is what I mean. A 3-point lighting setup is great for shooting interviews, it's great for shooting portraits. However, a better understanding of how to create that 3-point lighting setup where you can add a little contrast to it can help you take better photos or shoot better interviews. So what you choose to light with, I'm not going to say it's not important or as important, but don't jump off the deep end buying $800 lights. If you're just getting into it, you can probably find a set for about $200, some LED lights that I will post in the description. For photography, my go-to light is probably the Godox AD200. That's probably my go-to light. For video, you can get almost anything. A lot of companies across seas are starting to make some really cheap and affordable LED lights. The price is dropping like crazy. I'll post my recommendation in the description below. For your first lights, don't get caught up in the CRI and the tint and all that stuff. That's not important for your first set of lights. Once you learn them and understand them, then you can determine what type of lights you need. Often a lot of people ask me the same question of what camera do you suggest? What camera do you suggest? I don't know, because it depends on what you're trying to do. That's like asking a chef what tool you should buy. Hey, I'm getting into cooking. Should I buy a spatula? Should I buy a spoon? What should I buy? I don't know. What are you cooking? What type of food are you cooking? How often are you cooking it? So when it comes to lights, start with something, understand light, and get good at it before you make big investments, because you'll buy a light you don't need and you'll be stuck with an $800 light that you can't sell. As a photographer, you go out and you buy these Einsteins or these Alien Bs, and because you heard about them and all the people told you they're the best strobes money can buy, and you decide you want to be a natural light photographer, and now you can't get rid of these things. So learn more about it, then make a purchase. I guarantee you will be thanking yourself later. I bought a whole lot of stuff I ended up selling. So I'm trying to save you that heartache so you don't have to go through it like I went through. The number 4 thing, which I know this is like a top 3 list, but let me give you number 4 thing for both photo and video. Pay for courses online. Why? There's so much free content on YouTube. It's so much. Listen, often when you learn how to do things from YouTube, from people who just create tutorials, and not everybody, but you often tend to pick up their bad habits as well. If you can get a course from a reputable source like lynda.com, like Udemy. Udemy is a little different. Check reviews, but like lynda.com, you will see significant strides in your ability to capture great images or great video. I cannot stress to you the importance of buying training from a credible source. It's very important. I've had friends that watch videos online and they try to show me how to do something, and I'm like, man, you're doing it the long way. You know, you can just click this and do that, and they're like, I never knew that. Yeah, because you watched a tutorial from a 9-year-old who made a mistake and learned how to set up his back button focus. Let me show you how it's really done. So make sure you invest in your training. After that, you got to go lens route. After you get all that set up, go lens route. And remember, the key term that you got to remember that somebody told me, which is excellent. Listen, you marry the lenses, you date the bodies. Lenses hold their value. They normally stand the test of time. You can normally use a lens for the next 10 camera bodies you buy. Don't fall in love with the bodies because they'll be out of date. I mean, what's the price of an A7 Mark I right now? It was a great camera at its time, but at some point an A7 Mark IV will be out and then the Mark III won't look like nothing. So, however, their 70-200 will still be alive and kicking, even if they come out with a second version of it. Look at Canon 70-200, they still go for hefty prices. So remember, marry the lenses, date the bodies. All right, guys, if you guys received any information on this video that has helped you become a better photographer or videographer, please hit that thumbs up button. Please subscribe. Please share this with your friends. And I'll see you guys next video.